I think my screen is visible to you all. Is it audible? Hello.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Screen is visible. Okay. Right. Good morning, friends. Once again, I welcome all of you for this wonderful training program. Here, in the first session, what we are going to do, we are going to discuss about necessity of OBE in engineering studies and expected outcome. See, this OBE is mainly for the quality assurance purpose. See, during this 2 hours duration, what we are going to do, we are going to discuss about OBE and what is Washington Accord, then components of outcome-based education, then essential principle of outcome-based education, and what is vision and what is mission, how to map this vision and mission. This is what we are going to discuss. Say, tell me, you can put it even you can put it in the chat box. Say, I want to make it this as an interactive session. I need your active participation from your side. Say the participants, you can put your answer in the chat box. I can see the chat box. Say what comes to your mind when you hear the word education. What is coming to your mind when you hear the word education? You can put it in the chat box. I think totally 61 participants are there. You can put your answer. Sharing the knowledge, teaching and learning process, sharing the knowledge, teaching and learning. What else? Make it fast. Knowledge. I have received only few results. Say at least 30 participants need to answer for this one. The teaching learning is an environment. Sharing knowledge. Okay. Say most of the people are thinking that sharing the knowledge. Say let us see what is this one. Okay. Right. See, education is the process of facilitating learning. All right. Say we are as a teacher, we are facilitating the learning, right? Say then only the students can acquire their knowledge, skills, and values, beliefs, and habits. Say you said only the knowledge, not only the knowledge, it is skills, values, beliefs, and habits. Say the education, the institution is which is character building, right? Which is developing a skill among the students, right? Say they have to not only acquiring the knowledge, they have to develop the skills and values. Okay. See, you might have seen the automobile industry. This automobile industry, the quality can be ensured because see everything is automated, robotics, CNC machine has come. Everything is computerized, right? Say one by one it will be moving on. So each and small and net everything will be done by the what is that the computerized systems. All right. See, it is the quality can be ensured in it. The quality can be easily ensured. When you say the education system, how we can ensure the quality? The quality in the automobile industry we can ensure, right? But in the education system, how to ensure the quality? Say that is a big question mark, right? Say the quality in the sense the students when they are coming out from the college, they must possess fundamental knowledge. They must possess the skill set, what are all expected by the industry, right? Say how we can ensure the quality. That is the thing, the outcome-based education. The outcome-based education will ensure the quality in the education system, right? This outcome-based education is very much essential for nowadays scenario. If you take the background of OBE, see, Dr. William Spady is the father of OBE, outcome-based education. Say, in 1980s, it has been originated in the USA. Then, initially, it is introduced in the medical profession. Then, slowly, it came to the engineering profession. Right? See, this is the statement given by the Spady. If the OBE is focusing and organizing an educational system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. Say this is, say the students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences, right? This means, see, uh, actually the students, the outcome is set, that outcome need to be achieved by the students. For that, we have to organize the curriculum, instruction, and assessment to make sure this learning ultimately happens. This is the statement given by the father of OBE, Spady, William Spady. Right? See, in the nutshell, if you see OBE, outcome-based education, is nothing but it is a learner-centered approach, which is a dynamic education system. It's a dynamic education approach that focuses on outcome of the learners. See, it is a learner-centered approach, dynamic education approach. See, and it should focus on the outcome of the learners. The dynamic in the sense we have to measure the outcome of the students. We have to get the feedback. If there is any flaw, that need to be incorporated, and we have to change the curriculum. Accordingly, we have to change our teaching methodology. Accordingly, we have to change our assessment procedure. Everything. It's a dynamic environment, right? Say, you tell me in life, which is more important, destination or journey? You can put it in chat box. You can put it in chat box. Which is more important, destination or journey? Make it fast. Make it fast. Journey is important, or make it fast. Make it fast. Journey is important. Destination or journey? Destination is important. Make it fast. Destination. Only I got only few answer. Make it fast. So already I said it should be interactive session. So you have to involve. Say we are all talking about the OBE. Say we have to involve very actively. Say destination is important. Destination is important. Some people are telling journey is important. Okay. Okay. Let us see which is important. All right. Say the next question. Say whether playing well is important in the sports. Playing well is important, or winning the game is important. Which is important? Playing well is important. Okay. Dr. Lavanya said playing well is important. Right? Rajendra Yadav said play well. Okay. Playing well is important, or winning the game is important? Dr. Gladish madam said, see, playing well is important. Muhammad Sagir, playing well. Nandagopal, play well. Rupa Sri, playing well. Okay. See, the playing well is important. Health is also important. Okay. Playing well. Okay. See, if you come to the thing, say winning is start at the beginning. Say if you start playing well, automatically you will be winning the game. Right? The winning starts at the beginning. That is the key mantra, right? We have to play well to win the game, right? Same way, in the journey, you may have a different path, right? We have to see destination. You have to reach the place here. Say you can choose this route or this route, but say you have to reach this location. See, the journey as well as destination, both are important. See, as a education, if you come to the education profession, in the education system, as a teacher, we are laying a path for the students. We are guiding the students to go along the path to reach their destination. Say for that, say we are helping. Say both the things is important. Here, destination is outcome. See what we plan the outcome. The destination is outcome. The journey is nothing but see how we are implementing this curriculum, how we are evaluating, how what kind of a teaching learning method implemented in the system, right? So to transfer the content, to develop the skill set among the students, those, right? See, not only the destination, the journey as well as destination is very, very important. If journey is safe, then automatically you will be reaching the destination. All right. Say, if you in the academic quality assurance, if you take the academic quality assurance, see, we have to ensure the quality in the academic system. So whatever activities we are doing as a teacher, as a the administrator, educational administrator, or policy makers, so whatever role, whatever activities that we are doing it in the education institutions, that should ensure the outcome. Then only you can the quality is achieved, right? Whatever the quality you are expecting, that is achieved. So when once our students achieve the outcomes, then you can tell that, say, this outcomes are achieved by our students. Say effective graduates we have produced from our academic institutions and so on. All right. Say this how to ensure the quality. This quality of education system is judged from three perspectives. One is based upon the input, what we are giving into the system, and what is happening within the system. And if you give the proper input and the proper process, then automatically the output will be fine, right? Say education is the system. When I say the system, automatically there will be definite input and definite output, right? Say, but the process is very, very important. That process need to be taken care by the teachers, right? Say input in the sense this is infrastructure and resources, which is mainly important for the education system or each and every institutions. So what is happening within the system? The process used to organize, control, deliver, and implement that thing in the education system, and or it may be a training, right? Say how we are implementing the uh, curriculum, how we are implementing the how we are adopting the teaching learning method to develop the skill set of the students, right? Say that is this process that is happening within the system, that is very, very essential. That is the major part is in the hands of the teachers, right? The output is nothing but the product which is coming out from the institutions, right? The products and the results of the education. Say, what is it all about? Say, this all about is talking about outcome-based education. That outcome-based education is nothing but it's a method of curriculum design and teaching, right? That focuses on learning outcomes. That mainly focuses on learning outcomes, right? The focus is on the what students can actually do after they are taught. Say, when I say learning outcome, the learning outcomes are focusing on what students can actually do after they are taught, right? Say, see, this is after completing the 4-year degree, they have to cope up with the industry, right? At the same time, nowadays in the global perspective, they can move from one country to another country. They can do their profession in some other country, but see, the students should be having a all kind of a skill set which is expected by the industry people. All right. See, the desired outcome is selected first. First, we have to set the outcome. Say the they have to the student should achieve these outcomes, right? Like that, we have to list the outcomes. Once it is listed, then accordingly we have to design the curriculum, instructional materials, and assessment procedures, right? Say this, especially this instructional materials will facilitate the students to achieve their desired outcomes, intended outcomes. All right. Say you might have heard. Say there is a two system. One is called as a National Board of Accreditation. Another one is National NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. This National Board of Accreditation NBA, this is for the program, NAC is for the institution. All right. Say if you come to the Washington Accord, say this is the birth of outcome-based education in 1989. Initially, 6 countries signed in the Washington Accord. They are actually Australia, New Zealand, and the the Washington, New Zealand, and UK, Canada, Ireland, USA. These 6 countries initially they have signed in this Washington Accord. Say currently there are 21 countries. There are signatories, right? Say this
Tell me, ma'am.
countries. Hello, hello. Okay. So 7 organizations who hold the provisional signatory status, right? The 7 organizations are 7 countries. The 7 organizations from 7 different countries are provisional members. During the
Madam, afternoon I will
2014,
give, ma'am.
during 2014, India became a
Afternoon.
signatory member in the Washington Accord. Say this, the main aim of this Washington Accord is how do we build mutual understanding among the nations about the quality of engineers who enter the globally connected workspace. Say that is a very important. Say one person is completing his BE degree in India, they can move to the another country, they can do their profession there, right? If if here when he pursue the BE degree, say if it is from NBA accredited institutions, then that country is also in the Washington Accord signatory body, then automatically that country will accept. All right. See, this is actually it's a multilateral agreement between the bodies who is responsible for accreditation, which these bodies recognize the uh, trilateral level of the territory level of their engineering qualifications, right? Say for example, for our India, NBA is the National Board of Accreditation, which is the body. That body is responsible for the quality of engineering education, right? See, this is especially for the graduate engineering qualification within in our country. All right. See, similarly, each and every country is having their own signatory body. That body is responsible for their territory. Right. They have to ensure the quality in the undergraduate engineering. This purpose is, as I said, the purpose is to mutually recognize and accept the qualification accredited by the signatories. Say the International Accreditation Agreement for understanding the professional engineering academic degrees between the bodies responsible for accreditation. Say they can, without any hurdle, the people can go there and they can do their profession in other country. They can do their higher studies. They can do their research work, right? Say because this has happened because of the globalization. Say because the competitive environment came now. Say because of the threat of the globalization. Say there is a huge demand for the engineers. This institutions need to improve their quality to develop the more number of skilled engineers, right? Say this, so this kind of competitive forces for the outcome-based education. What are expected? So what is the expectation of this OBE from the students? Say the students should do the challenging task, right? They should not be a rote learners. Say they should not memorize and they should not vomit whatever they have studied. They should not write it in the examinations, right? Say we have to set the, even when you set the question paper, you should set the question, some of the questions in the higher order level, right? They have to think in the think and they have to reply for that one. Don't take the questions and straight away from the booklet and straight away don't give it to them. All right. Say you ask them, you give the critical assignments, the critical level, the case studies. You give it to them. You ask them to come for the conclusion. They will do it. Right. Say because this is what expected by our education system. Say not only the what is it, content knowledge, along with that content knowledge they must develop the skills in the different aspects. The students must be creative, as well as they have to plan and organize the task. They have to analyze and synthesize the information, work in a work in a team as a community, or in the entrepreneurship. And see, even some of the institutes are having a separate incubation for the entrepreneurship, to develop the entrepreneurship skill among the students. Say for that, say they have to assist, they have to develop their skills, soft skills. Similarly, even if there is no job, they have to develop, they have to know how to market their the skills, right? So for that purpose, say this, we have to equip our students to cope up with the expectation of our industries. The main problem is nurturing quality in education. All right. See, each and every place that we are nurturing the quality in education. Say how? See how we can ensure as a teacher. This is the role of the teacher. We have to ensure the quality in education system. If there is a will, there is a way for it. Right? Say we have to change from the traditional method of teaching. How to change? We have to we have to do the design, then we have to deliver, then we have to implement it. Say this this is nothing but it's from the course content. It's starting from the course content. In the sense, say the component of OBE, you might have heard the component of OBE is the outcome-based education is involving outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based learning and teaching, and outcome-based assessment. Right? Say these three are component of outcome-based education. The outcome-based curriculum, if you come to the outcome-based curriculum, say which will be having a outcomes which need to be achieved by the students. It may be a program outcome or course outcome or program educational objectives, say which will be the curriculum will be having the information about these outcomes, say what the students should be able to do at the end of the program or end of the course and so on. Right? See, the OBLT is nothing but see making the students to achieve the outcomes, making the students to achieve the outcomes. Right? Say we have to, as a teacher, we have to actively involve the students in the teaching learning process. So if we involve them, then automatically they will learn themselves. Then automatically they will achieve the set outcomes. Then OBA. OBA is talks about the outcome-based assessment, which is the another part of the umbrella. All right. Say OBE is the outcome-based education is the big umbrella. Within that, we are having a outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based learning and teaching, and outcome-based assessment. This outcome-based assessment is which will be measuring the outcome of the students. Right? You can ensure really the students achieve the set outcome or not. If at all not achieved by the students, then what kind of a measures need to be taken to achieve that one? That is the role of our as a teacher. We have to ensure the thing, right? See, let us if you come to the outcome-based curriculum. In the outcome-based curriculum, say we have to identify the gaps. Say in case of the traditional and all, it is developed in some universities or in some centralized place, right? Then say everybody, all the people, all the institutions will be following that curriculum, right? Say, but it should be a outcome-based curriculum. Should be a dynamic curriculum. Even if there is any change in the industry, that need to be that need to be considered. All right, that the curriculum. That's what the curriculum gap. They have to bridge the gap, right? 1 minute, 1 minute. One more program is going on here. I will quickly join with you. Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute. I need time. 1 minute. No, no. Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. Okay. See, uh, see, when you are designing the curriculum, we have to consider the we have to take the feedback, or we have to get the input from the stakeholders. The stakeholders are nothing but our students, parents, alumni, the industry, right? The professional bodies, faculty members, etc. So we have to get the input. We have to get the input from the stakeholders. Similarly, we have to get the input from the industrial people, right? From the management. Then accordingly, we have to design our curriculum. See, it's a collaborative work. We have to get the input from the different perspective. Then that need to be incorporated in the curriculum, right? The main thing is we can get the more input from the alumni people, then as well as from the industry. See, the alumni is very, very essential. See, our students will be placed in many places. They can tell what is the trend, today trend. What are the things need to be incorporated to equip them, to equip the nowadays learners, right? We can get the input from the alumni. Similarly, the academic industry collaboration is very, very important. Say what industry is expecting is very, very important. Say once you know the expectation of the industry, accordingly the planning can be done while doing the curriculum, while designing the curriculum, right? When you come to the outcome based learning and teaching, OBLT, outcome based learning and teaching, this is uh, in the traditional way of teaching is we have to change from the traditional way of teaching, in the sense uh, you give the answer for this one, then we will go for the clarifications. Okay, I will continue my session later on. Say what is teaching. First, you give your answer. What is teaching? I think I will put an answer garden. I will put an answer garden. You can give your answer here in the answer garden. I think my screen is visible to you all. I am providing a link to you. Click this link and give the answer. I'm providing a link in the chat box. I'm providing a link. You click this link. Are you seeing my screen? Is it visible? Answer garden is visible, or PowerPoint is visible? Hello. My screen is visible. No, that the okay. Okay. I'm sharing now the answer garden. Say what is teaching. Say I have provided a link in the chat box. Click that link. You will be getting this answer garden. Then you can type your answer there. It is only restricted to up to 20 characters. You cannot give more than that one. I have received only one answer. Make it fast. Sharing knowledge, to give knowledge, motivating students to share knowledge. Make it fast. Only 4 answer I have received. I need more active participation from you people. Hello. Okay. Only few people are responding. Make it fast. Make it fast. Say, 66 people are there, right? Even if you don't give the answer here, just, just you can write it in a paper and see. Say, all of you write the definition for the teaching and tell me. Say, make it fast. I have received only few answer to the answer garden. Okay. Good, 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 good. Okay. Improve skill. Okay. Define teaching. Define teaching. Attain people needs. Molding a student. Knowledge sharing. Motivating the students. Sharing the knowledge. Okay. So let us come to our presentation. I have received, these are all the answer I have received, but sharing the knowledge given by the more number of people. Okay. Let us define teaching. Okay, two kind of definitions can be given. Say one is whether my PPT is visible now. Otherwise I have to change my settings. Okay, I'm changing my settings to the screen. Okay, now I think my PPT is visible to you. Say we can define this teaching as to show or explain something. To show or explain something, right? Say this is or another kind of a definition. If you see another kind of a definition, to cause someone to know something, to show or explain something, to cause someone to know something. Say what is the difference between these two? What is the difference between these two? Can you tell me? Any one of you please unmute and talk. Is it possible to unmute and talk? I don't know. Organizers, they have to tell whether they are giving a permission for the participants to unmute. Ladish madam, or I can put it in you put it in chat box. I'll see the chat box. So what is the difference between the statement 1 and 2? That is my question. Okay, good. I need more answer. Only Kamachi madam given answer. Lecturing and make them to do. What else? What is the difference between the definition 1 and 2? That is my question. Make it fast. Sharing and to make them learn and lecture. Okay. Anybody else? Make it fast. What is the difference between the statement 1 and 2? Make it fast. So when you give the answer, when you in the chat box, don't put it to me. You can type it as everyone. Then the it will be visible for everyone. Okay. See, when you give the differences, main differences, the first thing is to show or explain something. As our Kamachi madam said, as well as the Kalpana Arya said, we transfer the knowledge, and second one, make them acquire. Good, very good, fantastic. Then to assist in acquiring knowledge and be competence. Okay, good. See here, see the first statement is talking about the teacher-centered approach. It is showing in the teacher's perspective. The definition is showing in the teacher's perspective, but in the second one, it is in the student's perspective. All right. See, in the second one, the cause someone to know something is this is student's perspective. Say the first one is indicating the teacher's perspective, that is teacher-centered teacher-centered learning. But the second one is actually indicating that student-centered one. Say, the second one is implies that if the students did not learn it, you did not teach it, right? So, say the second definition, say whoever written the definition for the teaching, if you are written it as a second definition, similar to the second definition, then you are all ready for the what is that student-centered approach, right? The traditional teaching. If you take the traditional teaching, say traditional teaching is chalk and talk. In that, most even past 100 years, the people are the most part of the countries, the people are using the same chalk and talk method, right? Say, what are the defects in this? What are the defects? Can you put it in chat box? What are the defects in the traditional system? What are the defects? Say you are all following the chalk and talk. You know what is the advantage, what is the disadvantage of this traditional method. Say, can you list some of the disadvantages of this traditional method, chalk and talk? What we are using in our classroom nowadays, classroom, chalk and talk, right? Say, even if you take our most of the teachers, still they are utilizing only chalk and talk method. Even after implementing a OBE, the teachers are using only chalk and talk method. Say they have to change themselves. That is what the OBLT, outcome based learning and teaching, is very, very important. So what is the disadvantage of this system? What is the demerits in the traditional system? So you are all having a lot of demerits. Can you tell me what are the demerits? You cannot view the students while writing and cannot observe them. Time consuming, more time in chalk and talk. Yes, especially if you then we transfer the knowledge, and second one is assign in obtaining knowledge and become make them to listen the topic they are not aware of. Not attractive methodology for current generation. Okay. More distractions for students. We cannot explain with videos. You cannot explain with videos. So I'm asking about what is the demerit, what are the demerits present in the teacher-centered approach. Say teacher-centered approach, that's what we are utilizing traditionally, that is a chalk and talk. Say what are the demerits present in this teacher-centered approach. Okay, right? So quickly, so people have listed some of the things. More we can, more we have to remember always. We need the secondary device, written notes, waste of time, and yes, with day-to-day simple examples we can use. Okay, I'm asking about the demerits. Okay, right. Say when you come to the demerits, say if you see these characteristics of this teacher-centered learning, which is one-way communication. That too, if we take our teachers, those who are all handling problematic subjects, in the sense strength of material, fluid mechanics, mathematics teachers, especially mathematics teachers in the machine design, thermodynamics. If you see the engineering mechanics, if you see those people, they will be concentrating much more on completing of syllabus. Even they will not be interacting with the students. Say normally they will be concentrating on the board to solve more number of your problems in the classroom itself. They will be borrowing the hours from the theoretical what is that, a theoretical subject handled by some other people. They will be borrowing from other teachers to complete the syllabus, right? So mostly it is a one-way communication. The students will be sitting very passively and receive the information. We cannot ensure really the students are physically sitting or mentally sitting. We cannot ensure them. Then teaching and assessing are separate, and by topic, teaching and assessing are separate uh, by topic, and culture is competitive and individualistic. Right? Say teaching is done by some people and assessment will be done by some other people. Right? Then similarly, the environment is competitive. But if you see the outcome-based education, say outcome-based education is demanding for the active participation of learners. So for that, we have to, as a teacher, we have to design different. We have to implement innovative teaching methods. So if you see the criticism, effective for good students only. This TCL, this teacher-centered approach is effective only for the good students, not suited for non-auditory students. Right? Say different kind of learners are there. Say for auditory students, it will not be suitable. Right? Then environment is threatening. Say always say he is getting a high score, he is getting a this much score, he is got the above the distinction, like that, right? Always the environment is threatening by a way of marks. So if you see the deficiencies, it is only focusing on the content, completing the content, covering the content. Less focus on the other skills. In the sense, learning by the students. Similarly, teaching methodologies, right? So teaching methodology, especially for active participation of students, right? We are giving a less focus for that one. The graduates are not completely prepared for the workforce. Because of this TCL method, the graduates are not completely prepared for the workforce because they are very lag in the soft skills, right? Which is required by the today's industries. See, as a teacher, we have to ensure whether we have to ensure the learning, right? As a teacher, we have to ensure the learning process, whether really students are learning or not, what they are learning, how well they are learning, and which is in which area they are weak and which area they are strong, what kind of mistakes they are doing, what are the criteria which affect the learning of the students, how much they are learned. See, as a teacher, we have to make this many questions, and we have to help the students. We have to help the students to develop their learning and as well as to develop their skills. See, you might have heard about the learning theories. That is a paradigm shift in the learning theories. See, the learning theory is nothing but how the students are observing, how they are processing that observed content, and how they are retaining that knowledge, right? That is nothing but learning theory. Say you are delivering the content. So today you want to deliver the new content into the classroom, right? Initially, what will you do? You will be checking whether the students are having a fundamental knowledge, whether they are possessing a fundamental knowledge to receive the new content or not. Then you will try to test. You try to test them by posting some query orally. Then you will be trying to test the present knowledge of the students. Say if they are weak, then what will you do? Automatically you will be giving a fundamental knowledge to them, fundamental content to them to receive the new content. After that you will be moving on. Okay, so how the cognitive skill is very much important. The students, each and every students are coming from the different background. Some people are completing in the what is it they are completing their 12th in the their own medium, that the Tamil medium or Telugu medium, like that, right? And some people are completing their studies in the English medium. Say similarly, the physical, what is that? The financial background of that family, everything. Lot of aspects are there, which is affecting their thing, right? So each and every people are having their own cognitive skills. Say they are observing, then they are processing it, then retaining their knowledge, right? During their during the learning process. Say this research says that in 1950s, say it was in behaviorism, right? Now, in recent years, it is based upon the constructivism, right? Say the behaviorism is nothing but, say, the by getting the information, the behavior of the people will be getting changed, all right? Say by learning, the behavior is getting changed. The cognitivism is learning occurs through the internal processing of information. But constructivism is nothing but, say, the present day learners are learning the concepts through the constructivism. They construct their own knowledge uh, based on the individual experience, right? Based upon the knowledge already what they have gained, based upon that they want to construct our new ideas, right? Say the now the present day 21st century learners are learning based upon this constructivism theory. You know, this is right side you are seeing that retention rate for the pyramid, retention rate for the retention rate pyramid. So for example, say after receiving the content through the lecture method, the retention rate, if you see, it will be only 5%. For example, if students are receiving the content through the lecture method, after some time, if you check their retention rate, it will be only 5%. Some of the students are learning by demonstration. Same contents received by the demonstration. Then, after some time, if you check that retention rate, it will be 30%. Right? See, it is going on like this. Lecture method is 5%, reading is 10%, and audio, see, the audio visual is 20%, demonstration is 30%, discussion by group is 50%, and practicing by doing is 75%, and teaching others is 90%. Alright? See, the retention rate is increasing when the students are actively participating in the teaching learning process, the retention rate is increasing. The practice by doing. Alright? So nowadays learners are doers. Nowadays learners are doers. Right? They don't want to listen from the teachers. Say if you see, the lecture method will not be more effective for them because they are not at all retaining the content, ability to transfer the knowledge. See, whatever we are implementing, it is going vain, right? See, even after getting it, they are not at all having a ability to transfer the content knowledge. Then similarly, they are not at all having a problem solving skill. They are not at all having a critical thinking skill, right? See, there is no soft skill among the students because of this lecture method. Say so, this traditional teaching method is failed. We have to adopt the new thing because today learners are not a listener, they are doers. All right. Say they want to build their own learning by doing. Say I hear, I forget, and I see, and I remember. I do, and I understand. Right. If I hear, there is a possibility for forget. If I see, I can remember. If I do, then I can understand. Hey, this is the proverb you might have heard. Hey, we have to involve the students in the active teaching learning process, right? As I said, today learners are not uh, liking to entertain in a classroom. They want to learn in their own environment. Say that's why we have to shift from the teacher-centered learning to the student-centered learning. Say once you that's what the outcome-based education is emphasizing, this student-centered learning. This student-centered learning, uh, the actually what will happen in the student-centered learning will support the students to gain their skills. As a teacher, we have to lay the path. Similarly, we have to change our teaching methodology. We have to bring the more number of activity in the in the teaching learning methods, right? Say we have to involve the students very actively in the teaching learning process. Because of that activity, students can construct their knowledge. Similarly, it will provide a supportive environment for them. Say once if they achieve this, if they actively involved in the teaching learning process, automatically the students can achieve the outcome. Say remember, change happen in the learners, not in the content. Due to the paradigm shift in the teaching learning theories, due to change in the globalization, the, nowadays the system is compelling us to ensure the quality in the education system, and also there is a change in the learners. We have to change our way of teaching, but content is same. Say we are the whatever the fundamental contents, that fundamental contents are same for BE civil engineering, BE mechanical engineering, electronics communication, or whatever maybe if you take. Say, but some updations will be coming that need to be updated, that need to be included. The content is same. The basic fundamental contents are same, but change happens in the learners. As a teacher, we have to we have to understand this one. Then accordingly, we have to change our teaching learning method, right? Say different variety of learners are there: visual learners, auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, and reading and writing learners. Right? Work. You might have heard about work. You can analyze your students. How will you analyze your students? How will you identify your students are visual students, or auditory students, or kinesthetic students? The visual students normally, by seeing the content, they will be understanding. Say those auditory learners will be understanding the concept by hearing, by listening. But the kinesthetic learners, by doing, they will be understanding the concepts. Right? Then R, work, we used to call as work, WARK. R stands for the reading and writing. So by reading, some of the students will be understanding the concepts. See, this traditional teaching learning method will be suitable only for the auditory learner, not for the visual learner and kinesthetic learner. See, for that, see, to understand your group, you have to do the questionnaire survey. Accordingly, you have to categorize your students. Say how much percentage of the students are there in your group, whether visual learners or auditory learner or kinesthetic learner. Say accordingly, you have to design your teaching method. Accordingly, you have to decide your mode of delivery, right? What kind of activity you can involve, how much the whether I can go for the demonstration, or I can show only the pictures or videos, whether it is sufficient. Based upon this analysis, you have to carry out you have to carry out the you have to carry out the teaching method, right? Okay, so based upon the analysis of your students, then you have to go for the implementation of or transferring the content through the new innovative methods. Okay, right? So have you heard about work question? Have you heard about work? WARK. So you can analyze you can put it in chat box. You can put it in chat box. Say you can analyze your group. You can the questionnaire. You can give it to your students. You can identify what kind of a student he is, whether he is a visual learner, or he is a auditory learner, or he is a kinesthetic learner. That you can do it. How will you analyze it? Do you know? Do you know the way? You can put it in chat box. Make it fast. Make it fast. I have received a thing from Javid. What about others? Say if majority is no, then I will give the hint, or otherwise I will move on to the next slide. Only I got say make it fast. Make it fast. Say, do you know how to analyze your students? Do you know that is my question? My question is it clear for you? My question is, how will you analyze your students? How will you find your students whether they are auditory learner or visual learner or kinesthetic learner? Make it fast. I think only Javed is attending. Say if you know, then you put yes, yes I know how to analyze by their performance. Okay, then make it fast. Test measurement and evaluation. My name is pretty. Next. Okay. Sandbox. Sandbox. That is technical issue. Kindly wait a minute. Hmm. By their response in the class. Okay. Test measurement and evaluation. மீதி அவர் கிளாஸ் அதாவது டூல் ஏதாவது சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க கிளாஸ் மீதி சார் மீதி போட்டு டாபிக். Okay, say through their response in the class, through the mentoring, right? Say, you can do the analysis. I will tell you. Say you can, if you go to the site, you can get the work analysis. We can say, for example, we can do the work analysis. VARK work. You can put a work. You can get the work. This is a guide to identify the learning style of the each and every students, to find the learning style of the each and every students work, right? Visual learner, auditory learner, read and write, and kinesthetic learners. Say if in this site we are having a questionnaire. Say if you download that questionnaire, then that questionnaire can be given to your students. They will be answering for that one. Based upon that score for that questionnaire, you can categorize them whether they are visual learner or auditory learner or read and write learner or kinesthetic learner. Say accordingly, once you decide your group, then you can go for your teaching. Then you plan your teaching based upon the audience. First you analyze the audience. Say through this work questionnaire you analyze the audience, then you decide the uh, method, right? Okay, what kind of a method will be predominantly utilized in the classroom? Say 65% of the population are visual learners. 65% of the population are visual learners. Say the 50% of the brain is dedicated to visual functioning. 50% of the brain is dedicated to visual functioning. Say 65% of the population are visual learners. Imagine in the entire world, 65% of the population is the visual learners, uh, and 50% of the brain is dedicated to visual functioning, right? So most of the people will be visual learners. Okay. See, in the nutshell, if you say it is not, the outcome-based education is not what we teach. It is what students learn. See, this is the key mantra of outcome-based education. It is not what we teach. It is what students learn. That is a very, very important. Let us come to the outcome-based assessment. See, we have discussed about two components of outcome-based education. One is outcome-based curriculum and outcome-based learning and teaching, right? See, this third component is outcome-based assessment. See, as I said, most of the times teachers are not at all encouraging the students to ask questions. Some of the teachers are encouraging. Say, especially some people will not be having a time to interact with the students. They will not ask any questions. They will not interact with the students. Simply, they will be concentrating on the content. They will be actually they will be stick on to the board. They will be teaching everything, right? This will be happening. Okay. Say the knowledge sharing. The question is, even you have to encourage the students to ask many number of questions. Say that will help them, that will motivate them to learn the subjects. Say some of the people will be telling that don't ask any questions. Okay, I will come and say, even if some people will be asking the questions, then what will happen? Immediately, the teacher will be responding. Don't ask a question here. I have to complete my syllabus. If you have any doubt, you come to the lab or come to the staff room. In a leisure time, I will explain you. Like that, they used to tell, right? See, we have to encourage the students to ask more number of questions. As I said already, students are say coming from the different background. Each and every people are having their own cognitive skills, right? But if you see our evaluation method is only the only end semester examination. So we are in the traditional way of assessment. We are talking about only the what is that? Only the norm reference, right? Norm based reference we are doing it. See, actually we are conducting the examinations, we are measuring the performance of the students, we are assessing the students through the exams or through the test marks. Actually, this traditional method is called as a input based education, right? Where the students are mostly passive learners. They are engaged only in the lower order thinking, because whatever we are teaching in the classroom, they will be receiving passively. They will be receiving only the lower order thinking skills. So because they are not at all involving in the active based learning. So when you involve them in the active based learning, then they will be getting a more doubt. Then high engagement will be there. Then automatically higher order thinking skill will be getting developed, right? See, that is what OBE is demanding. Say we have to involve them in the active learning. Then we have to give more number of activity. Say we have to uh, encourage the students for their higher encouragement. Say encourage the students for higher engagement. Say then only their higher order thinking skill will be getting developed, right? Say this outcome based assessment, if you see, outcome based assessment is, it is not only the giving the marks. This outcome based assessment is performance based assessment, portfolio based assessment, and self assessment, peer to peer assessment, and so on. See, if you do, this is nothing, this is outcome based assessment is not the single point assessment. This is continuous assessment, right? Say that assessment is, as a teacher, you are assessing the student's performance. You can ensure really whether they have attained the soft skill or not, because there is a huge demand for the engineers having the soft skills, right? So nowadays the industry people are expecting the much more from our today's learners. Say like communication skill, interpersonal skill, analytical skill, then critical thinking skill, and problem solving skill, and work in groups, interpersonal skill, or similarly the creative thinking, and what would I say? The adaptability, leadership quality, responsibility, judgment. A lot of skills are requested by our industry people. See, as a teacher, we have to develop this. We have to develop this skill to the teachers. As, as a teacher, we have to develop these skills among the students. See, those days we are teaching. Say it was one-way communication. As a teacher, we were concentrating only on the content part. Nowadays, teachers, they have to be strong in the content. At the same time, they have to be very strong in the pedagogy. Then they have to engage the students. They have to organize the thing. We have to support, as a teacher, we have to support the students to develop their own skills by their own learning. For that, we have to make the highly engagement learning environment for the students, right? Say, if you come to the key constituents of OBE, this OBE is talking about vision and mission. The vision and mission is very, very important for each and every institution. Says this top down approach, actually this, if you see this top down approach, if you have vision and mission, then accordingly based upon your vision and mission, the program educational objectives need to be framed. Then you have to frame the program outcomes, then course outcomes, right? When we have to measure these program educational objectives, program outcomes, and as well as this the course outcomes, when we have to measure, can you tell me? You can put it in chat box. When we have to measure the course outcome, when we have to measure the program outcome, and when we have to measure this program educational objectives, you can put it in chat box. Already I said it should be interactive. You have to give your answer in the chat box. Make it fast. Course outcome after the completion of the particular course. வந்துச்சா? Work பண்ணுதா? Okay. Unit wise. Unit wise. Course outcome after each semester of the particular course, PO after the 4 year of study. Okay, make it fast. Say when you are putting an answer, you can put it to everyone, then it will be visible for all. Some people are sending personally. You can make it as everyone. Okay, in the chat box, you send okay. PO after 4 years. Okay, good, very good, very good. You are right. See this, when you see this vision and mission need to be mapped with the program educational objectives. This program educational objectives need to be mapped with the program outcomes, and as well as program outcomes need to be mapped with the course outcome. You need the graduate attributes. That graduate attributes need to be mapped with the program outcomes. See the measurement. When you see the measurement, the course outcomes need to be measured after completing the course. Then program outcomes is during the graduation. After when they are completing the graduation, it need to be measured when they are completing the graduation. Then program educational objectives need to be measured after few years after the graduation. That is, for example, 4 to 5 years. You can take to measure the program educational objectives. The course outcome, each and every subject in the curriculum, each and every subject will be having a syllabus. That syllabus will be having a set of outcomes, right? So that after completing the semester, each and every end of the semester, you for that particular subject, you will be measuring that course outcome, really whether the students achieve that set outcomes or not. See, the program outcome is at the end of the graduation, the 4th year, right? The program educational objectives are after completing the graduation. From there, from there 4 or 5 years later, you can measure this program educational objectives, right? To measure this program educational objectives, or whatever may be the course outcome or program outcome, whatever may be, when you frame your curriculum, you will be framing this outcomes, everything, right? Say that should be smart, that should be specific, that should be measurable, then it should be achievable and realistic and time bounded, right? Say for example, see, the goals should be whatever may be the goal. You can set the challenging goal also, but it should be a realistic one. That should be attainable, right? That is a very, very important. Okay, don't set the impossible, the kind of a thing. Okay, right? Say, can you tell me what they are doing in this picture? You can put it in chat box. What you are understanding from this picture? What you are understanding from this picture? What they are doing? Just you can put it. Make it fast. Make it fast. Fishing. Okay, good. Fishing. They are fishing. Okay, good. You are right. Say they are fishing. They are catching the fish. Say where they are sitting. Whether they are sitting in that sea, whether it is looking like a lake or whether it is looking like a sea. They are fishing. You are right. Whether it is looking like a lake or sea. Lake. Good. It is looking like a lake. Whether dolphin will be available there? No. Okay. They are sitting in the lake. Dolphin will not be available in the lake. Right? Say this is the thing. They have to when they are writing their vision and mission, or when they are writing their objectives, right? So based upon the infrastructure facility, based upon the what is that the area, say in the sense, say what is they have to aim for the really achievable uh, outcomes. They should not set any impossible kind of a thing. Say these two people are catching the fish in the lake, but they should not write the objective as we are going to catch the dolphin, right? Say it should be really achievable one. When you are setting the program educational objectives or program outcomes, really it should be achievable one, right? The four essential parts of the essential parts of the uh, principles of the outcome based education is the clarity of focus, right? Then mapping back, and student centered and continuous quality improvement, CQI, continual quality improvement. So these four are essential principles of outcome based education. When I say the clarity of focus, say the uh, we need to, as I said already, we need to clearly list the outcomes which need to be achieved by the students. We have to clear cut direction need to be given to the students. After completing this program, you will be becoming like this, right? You will be achieving this. By doing this program, you will be becoming like this. You will be achieving this kind of outcomes like that. Say we have to give the clear cut idea or clear cut direction to the students, right? Then only students know what they are aiming for, right? That is the very very important. The clarity of focus is the first step. Then mapping back. Once design the curriculum, this design curriculum backward by using a major outcome as the focus, right? Say you know the vision and mission now. Once vision and mission is known, then accordingly you are designing the remaining thing. Program educational objectives, program outcomes, then course outcomes, everything. Right? Say, say you design the curriculum backward by using this major outcome. What is your major outcome? Based upon that, you design your curriculum. Right? Say your vision and mission is clear. Then you set program educational objectives. Then you set the program outcomes. Then you design the curriculum for each and every. Once you decide the curriculum, then you set the course outcomes for each and every subject, right? Link Similarly link all planning, teaching and assessment process to achieve these outcomes, right? Then as I already said, you have not taught until they have learned. Okay, don't forget this. You have not taught until they have learned. So you have to involve your students in the active teaching learning process, right? Which will increase the use of active participation by the students. Because of that, they can develop their own skills. See, engaging the students in the learning process is very, very essential. That is insisted by the outcome-based education. That's a learner-centered approach. Learner-centered approach is very, very essential, which is emphasized by the outcome-based education. Then continual quality improvement is very, very important. See, it's a dynamic one. Our curriculum should be dynamic. Our environment, educational environment should be dynamic, right? In this dynamic environment, we have to evaluate the entire process. We can evaluate the students really whether they have achieved the set outcomes or not, right? If there is any flaws, that need to be bring it, and that need to be incorporated in the curriculum, right? So the in the continual quality improvement, in the continual quality improvement, see, in the continual quality improvement we are okay. first thing is we have to plan, right? This planning is actually we have to prepare the document. Actually, what do you want to do, right? Actually, what do you want to do? Say that you can make it as a document. Say then execute and implement it. Second action is do. Whatever you have planned, try to implement that one, and uh, that is the phase of do. Then prove it. Whatever you have done, that need to be proved through the evidence and the process, right? See, we must have a record, evidence for each and everything. Say, for example, the planning is nothing but a curriculum. Curriculum is planned. That I'm implementing it. Say, different method of teaching, I'm implementing it, right? Say, that you can keep it as evidence and keep it, right? Then improve it. To improve whatever you have proved it, that need to be improved. How? By getting a feedback through the stakeholders, through the students, through the faculties. You collect the feedback. Accordingly, you can try to improve the system to help the system to improve better, to perform better, right? Then this is talking about the framework of OBE. Whatever I said, that is the detailed thing here is given. Say this is how it need to be performed. Say for example, we are having a mission, then PO, CO, and here CO, the program outcomes, right? Yeah, this is for the vision and mission is for the institute. Then this is for the uh, what is that program? This PO and PO is for the program. Then CO is for the course, right? Say to achieve the course outcome, say we have to ensure as a teacher, we have to ensure uh, proper teaching methods need to be introduced into the classroom. Similarly, we have to involve these learners in the active participation, right? We have to encourage the students to involve in the activity based learning, right? Then accordingly we have to do the assessment. It may be a portfolio assessment, performance based assessment, whatever may be peer to peer assessment, right? See, we have to engage the proper assessment tools to properly assess the performance of the students. Then you can ensure whether they have achieved the course outcome or not, right? See, similarly, you can evaluate after the end of the graduation. You can evaluate the the program outcomes, whether the program outcomes are achieved by the students or not, right? Similarly, you can after the 4 years, you can measure program educational objectives are met by the students or not. See, accordingly, you can collect the feedback, then add the points for the improvement, take the steps to improve the things, improve the system. Similarly, you can get the feedback from the industry people, through the alumni, you can get the input, and accordingly you redesign your curriculum, and that need to be implemented once again. Okay, this is how we have to keep this OBE framework in the form of dynamic education system, right? So let us talk about quickly, we will discuss about vision and mission statement, how to prepare vision and mission statement. Okay, say in the higher education, say not only we are concentrating on the teaching learning process, in addition to the teaching learning process, we are all involving in the research, right? Say in especially in the higher education process. Nowadays, people and the people are they demanding, the education system is demanding the teachers should publish more number of papers. Then they have to the consultancy, they have to do the consultancy, they have to do the research work, like that. Say, because when you are involved, when you are doing the projects and all, you will be learning. Say, when you are doing any activity, then automatically you will be learning a more that you can share with your students. You can involve your students in the projects. It may be a research project or consultancy project, whatever may be, which will automatically improve the skills of the teacher as well as the student, right? A traditional versus outcome based the curriculum design, if you see, in the traditional one is fixed one, and which is rigid one, we cannot modify it, which is prepared in central agency, right? Some it will be revised after 4 years once or 5 years once only. But even if you want to add any curriculum, if it's not at all possible, it will be rigid, right? Say, but in case of this outcome-based education, it is changing. Say, based upon the feedback, what you are getting from the industry people as well as stakeholders, you can accordingly modify your curriculum and you can implement it. It will be a flexible one. Then it is autonomous because you are involving in the implementing everything. Okay. The vision, say, vision is, say, this is nothing but, say, our say, where you want to go, right? Where you want to go, that is a very very important thing. See, based upon that, we have to fix your we have to decide your vision. Say, when you reach there, what we will be like, what you will be like, right? Then you have to define this sentence in the present tense, right? See, if you see whatever may be the vision statement, which the three will be talking about, the vision statement will be talking about three things. One is business, purpose, value. Say, business, see, your vision may be a midterm or long term. It's for another 10 years or another 20 years. But this is my vision for another 10 years, another 15 years, right? You can say, but the main thing is the three components are very, very essential. One is business, purpose, value. So, what is business? Say, business is talking about, say, I will show you, instead of showing this one, I will show the example. Quickly, you can understand what is a vision and done, right? Okay. So to provide valuable resource for industry and society through excellence in computer science and engineering and research. This is this is one of the sample vision. Here you can see the business purpose value. Say, business is nothing but, here business is written in green color. If you see the computer science and engineering and research excellence, our business is through excellence in business, the computer science and engineering and research. That is the computer science, engineering and research is the business. The purpose is for industry and society. The purpose is shown in red color, for industry and society. And value is, it's a valuable, to provide valuable resources. That is the value, right? See, another statement, one second, I'm showing. Here, if you see, this is related to some the institutions, uh, to be an accredited. Okay, this is related to that accrediting agency. To be an accrediting agency of international repute by ensuring the highest degree of credibility in assurance of quality and relevance of professional education, and come to the expectation of its stakeholders, right? Stakeholders are nothing but academicians, corporate, educational institutions, government, industry, regulators, students, and their parents. So it goes on. Okay. See, this is the vision statement. If you see the business, which is the business is nothing but accrediting agency of international repute, right? Say, this is the business, right? Say the purpose. If you see the purpose, what is the purpose here? The purpose is the to ensure, okay, they have to ensure the highest degree of credibility in assurance of quality. that is the purpose, right? Then value is come to the expectation of its stakeholders, expectations of its stakeholders. Okay, see, this is the value, all right? Okay, similarly, if you come to this one, say to contribute to India and the world through excellence in scientific and technical education and research, to serve as a valuable resource for industry and society, and remain a source of pride for all Indians. Okay, if you see the business purpose value, the business is your excellence in scientific and technical education and research, and purpose is for industry and society, and the value is to serve as a valuable resource, right? Source of pride, the valuable resource, a source of pride for Indians. Okay, this is the okay value. Say your vision statement should have this three, right? Say business purpose value. When I come to the mission statement, this mission statement to emphasize this, actually to complement this vision, we have to list the mission statement, right? How you are going to achieve your what is it? Your mission. Sorry, your vision, right? How we are going to achieve your mission. For that, mission statement need to develop, say, which will be talking about your institutional objectives, right? Say, you may have a list of missions, right? So even if you take the missions, these missions will be talking about business purpose values, right? Say some of the missions, say here, don't forget, here also you have to, when you prepare the mission, this mission should be concentrated on mission should be concentrated on the business purpose values, right? Okay, see, this business is nothing but what do we do. The the value is nothing but why do we do, and for whom, the purpose is for whom we are doing it, right? Say how we are the how do we do it. Okay, this is what entire thing is talking about, the vision and mission, right? Say for example, if we take this vision and mission mapping, say we have to do the vision and mission mapping. In the sense, vision statement is having a business purpose value. Similarly, this vision will be the mission also should have the business purpose values, right? For example, here the vision is given, accrediting agency of international repute. This is the business. Similarly, highest degree of credibility in assurance of quality. This is the purpose. Expectation of its stakeholders. This is the what is it value, right? This is the vision. See, to map this, we have to prepare the mission. That mission should also have this business purpose value, right? See, the mission is, see here, stimulate the quality of teaching, self-evaluation, and accountability in the higher education system. This is talking about the, what is that, purpose. We have to bring the quality in the teaching education system, in the teaching, right? Self-evaluation and accountability in the higher education system. This is nothing but a purpose, right? Adopt teaching practice that enables them to produce high quality professionals. This is nothing but a vision of that accreditation body. Then another thing is assess and accredit the programs offered by the college of the institutions. This is nothing but a business, right? Say this is the vision of accrediting body, right? If you take that one, if you see the mission, this mission is also mapped properly with the vision through this business, the purpose and values. All right. Okay. The summary, in the past 2 hours we have discussed about outcome-based education. All right. So we have discussed about more about the what are the components of the outcome-based education, what is the Washington Accord, and we have also discussed about the detailed component of outcome-based curriculum and outcome-based learning and teaching. Why we have to shift from the student-centered approach to why we have to shift from the teacher-centered approach to the student-centered approach. What is the changes happen in the learning theories, right? So this is what we have discussed. Then how to implement this outcome-based education, what are the outcome-based assessment and the quality, what that, how to improve the quality in the education system, especially through the continuous quality improvement. Then we discussed about the OBE frameworks and we discussed about mission statement, how to map this vision and mission statement, how to prepare the vision statement, which is having a three components: business, purpose, values. Based upon this business, purpose, values, we have to map the mission statement also with that one, right? So that's what we have discussed about thing. Then the important thing is we also discussed about the what's it how to in, implement the continual quality improvement, right? Say define outcomes. We have to define the in the nutshell. I would like to tell first you define the outcomes, then design the curriculum, then you can analyze your students accordingly. You choose the instructional methods that implement in the classroom. Then you evaluate, document the results, right? Then finally assess the students who it may be a course outcome or program outcome or program education objectives, right? Say you can say based upon that one, you try to get really you compare with the planned one whether we have achieved the set the program education objectives or not. See, if at all not achieved, say what are the flaws where we are having a lagging that you identify that you try to incorporate in the curriculum. Accordingly, you change the teaching learning process, right? Once again, you implement it. Okay, I would like to stop here. If it does not challenge you, it won't change you, right? Say this OBE, say don't, people are, most of the people are thinking that OBE is only changing the curriculum. That's all. It is not only changing the curriculum. Say, remember, as a teacher, we have to involve in many number of activities. Say, the major role is on the hand of the teachers, right? Say, it is, if it does not challenge you, it won't change you. You will be following only the traditional method, right? You have to change you. Okay, for that, you have to bring, you have to think as a teacher, you have to think how I can deliver this content, how I can involve my students in the active learning, how I can make our group as a more engagement group, right? Say, in the sense, say how to bring the more number of activities. Say the active participation is very very essential, right? This OBE is not a destination. Remember, this OBE is not a destination. It is the journey. One day we are changing the curriculum. That's all. That is the matter. It's over. Don't think like so. It is not a destination. It is the journey, right? See, it's a dynamic environment. The curriculum is the dynamic environment. Say based upon the curriculum, based upon that new content, automatically you have to define your teaching methodology. You have to change your teaching methodology. Similarly, you have to change your assessment. Say you have to do the performance-based assessment. You have to motivate the students for the peer-to-peer assessment, because peer-to-peer assessment will encourage the students. Even small assignment you can give it to them, ask them to correct themselves. they can critically evaluate. They can critically evaluate. That will develop their own critical thinking skills, right? See this. Uh, then self-assessment also will be helping the students to identify their strength and weakness. See that's what. See, we have to encourage the self-assessment as well as the peer-to-peer assessment as well as the portfolio assessment. Everything is right. Okay, this will automatically improve the critical thinking skill, soft skill, whatever we say, that will be easily that can be developed by the students while they are learning in the UG program. Okay, if you have any questions, I am ready to answer for you. Thank you very much for your present hearing. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Dear participants, you can raise your questions.
I hope you have enjoyed this sessions. If there is any no questions, thank you very much for your active participation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Shall we close the session, sir?
Okay, madam. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. So I would like to thank our chief guest and session speaker KSA Dinesh Kumar sir for sharing his knowledge on the topic necessity of OBE in engineering studies and expected outcomes. So it was really today's session was full of knowledge and interesting things, and it gave a deep insights about the topic and also revealed some interesting facts. And I'm pretty sure that the precious knowledge will definitely help us in our teaching curriculum. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I request the participants to rejoin the session by 1:50 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants. Please rejoin the session by 1:50 p.m.